Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this media conference to preview tomorrow's UEFA Nations League fixture in Hungary. Joined here by Gareth Southgate and Harry Kane. We'll get underway shortly with Rob Dorset from Sky Sports News, and then we'll open up to questions on Zoom. So please have your virtual hands at the ready. Rob, when you're ready.
Thanks, Andy. Gareth, most of the country is having a bank holiday today in celebration of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, and you've always been incredibly patriotic as a player and now as England manager, and I know you've encouraged all of the squad and staff to kind of sing the national anthem amongst other things. So is this an occasion that resonates with you, that you feel is really important?
Yeah, sadly I'm old enough to remember the Silver Jubilee, 1977, and I remember all the projects at school and all the things we did then, so it's incredible. I think service is the right word for the Queen. You know, she has served the country. She's dedicated her whole life to representing us and done it in an incredible fashion, and she's given our country remarkable stability for the length of her reign. So I have enormous admiration for what she does. Must be very, very difficult at times, but she's I think the response of everybody and the way the country feel about her is clear from everything that's happening over these next few days.
Let me ask you about matters back here at St George's Park and one or two fitness issues in the squad. Can you update us on where we're at, please?
Yeah, so Fikayo and Marc both arrived with injuries, but they're progressing well. I don't think, they won't be involved in tomorrow's game. There's a chance for some involvement against Germany, but then they should be fine for the game from there on. Phil Foden, unfortunately, it's tested positive for COVID, so he's had to leave. Hopefully he'll be able to meet up when we get back from Germany. So other than that, Raheem has missed a couple of days training with a bit of an illness. So we'll assess whether we involve him tomorrow. But everybody else is fully fit.
So important. That's the first we've heard of Phil Foden with the COVID diagnosis. So the timings work for him to be potentially back for the two home games at Wolverhampton.
Yes, I mean that very much depends on symptoms and how his breathing is when he's back into training. Of course, it affects everybody differently. So I think every team in the world are getting used to dealing with this sort of situation, really.
Listen, I need to ask you about the fact that you're going to play in the Puskás Arena again. You're going back to Budapest, where back in September there was some pretty horrific racist abuse directed towards your players. And this game is supposed to be behind closed doors, but we know there's going to be 36,000 people inside the stadium tomorrow night. The vast majority of those children, in fairness, which is within UEFA's rules. But what do you make of that situation, and do you have concerns that there could be more racism directed your way?
Well, I would imagine Hungary will feel the same way that we do about having restrictions on the home game, that they won't want it to happen again. And I think everybody learns from every experience they've been through. So I know our players at the end of that just wanted to focus on the football. They played incredibly well that night, and we want to go there and do that again. The sanctions, it's a little bit of a grey area. You know, we're inviting children into Molineux as well. We felt that would be something, given it's possible, that we'd like to do. So I think the players always want to play in front of a full stadium whenever possible. That's preferable for us. But of course, there's also got to be acknowledgement of the sanctions, and whether that's appropriate, that's for UEFA to decide, really.
Harry, if I can shift across to you, I mean, look, you were there, you were captaining the side, you saw it, and Raheem, I think, was particularly targeted back in September. We know that 3,600 in the crowd tomorrow are going to be adults. So does that worry you?
Look, I mean, like the gaffer said there, obviously, firstly, I think the way the players reacted and responded to the last game was credit to themselves. You know, we put in a fantastic performance in a really tough environment. But look, like the gaffer said, it's down to UEFA and what they see fit as obviously the punishment. We can only, as players, go out there and try and perform to the best of our ability. Try and put on a good performance like we did last time, and try and get the 3 points. yeah, of course, we hope that the game goes well and there's no crowd issues, no trouble. I'm sure it'd be great for the kids in that stadium to watch the game and watch their country and then watch our players play as well, some of the best players around the world. So, yeah, look, we're concentrating on the game and we want to get off to a good start in this group.
Much more positive note, you're 1 goal away from 50, which would be an incredible landmark. How special would that be for you? And when you first pulled on that England shirt, did you ever think you might get 50 goals? Was that always the target? I know you've set yourself some pretty ambitious targets right the way through your career.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it seems like a long time ago when I made my debut now, but at that time it was just about playing for England, you know. That was one of the best feelings and still is one of the best feelings every time I pull on that shirt in my career. So, yeah, back then it wasn't a number that I had in my head. It wasn't, of course, I wanted to score as many goals as possible and play as long as possible. So, yeah, it all goes so quickly, you know, the major tournaments come around quick, the games come around quick year by year. Yeah, you kind of edge up that leaderboard. So, yeah, it's great to be close to 50. Obviously, still a few goals behind Wazza there, but yeah, the most important thing is just going out there and performing for my team, and that's what I'll try and do tomorrow.
6 games to go before the World Cup, 4 of these now in the Nations League. With that in mind, do you sense? Look, it's pretty clear that you're you know, injury aside, you're going to be on the plane for Qatar yourself. But a lot of the players around you on that training pitch today wouldn't necessarily know that. Do you sense a bit more expectation, a bit more pressure, a bit more eagerness to impress with so few games to prepare now?
Yeah, I think what it does do, every training session is really important. Every game you play is really important. Of course, I think the reason we've been really good as a team over the last 4 or 5 years is the competition for places, people pushing each other in every area. Yeah, in training and in games. So look, it's 4 games in a short period of time. I'm sure there'll be rotation amongst the squad. I'm sure I think it's 5 subs for each game. So there'll be opportunities for players to come in and try and impress the manager. So I feel like we've created a culture here now where in every game, every training session, everyone is ready to go and give it everything. And look, there's some great opportunities out there, and I'm included in that. You know, every time I step out on that pitch, I want to try and show what I can do, try and impress Gareth. And yeah, there's 4 more games, 6 more games before the World Cup, so not a lot of time to prepare, and it comes around quick. So we've got to be ready for every opportunity.
Thanks, Rob. Okay, now we'll open up to those of us joining on Zoom. So please raise your virtual hand if you have a question. And we'll go to Alex Howell from BBC Sport.
Hi, Gareth. With the couple of new players in the squad, just wondering how they've settled into training this week.
Very good. I think I've said before, this is a group that's easy to settle in with. They make new players feel welcome, and if you can feel part of the group off the field, then I think you're much better prepared to go and perform at the level that you normally do on the field. So they've both settled really well. They're here because they're good players, and they're both in good form. And again, as Harry just said, it adds to the competition in all areas of the pitch.
And with the fan situation tomorrow in Hungary, I know it's majority children, but Rangers, when they played in the same scenario, they had a bad experience when it was the same sanctions under a UEFA game. Are you concerned at all about the atmosphere in the stadium tomorrow?
Well, we've got to deal with whatever comes to us. I think we've made our feelings clear on where we stand on inclusivity and our feelings in terms of racism and its unacceptability. Hopefully the young people in the stadium will recognise, well, why has this opportunity happened? And the message will be because of what was unacceptable last time we played there. So in some way, maybe this will be part of the education for the next generation. And I think each generation that passes, there'll be more tolerance in the world. And we have the same situation in our country. So we've got to keep doing the right thing, setting the right example. And all being well, then the young people in the stadium tomorrow will enjoy the game and take a bigger message from it as well.
Thank you. And a question for Harry, please. There's 4 games in 10 days, and it's the last chance of tournament preparation before the World Cup. Does it add importance to you as a captain?
Yeah, I think so. I think being one of the leaders in the team, you try and set a good example. You try and make sure that maybe some of the inexperienced players who haven't had that major tournament preparation, understand that every session is important. Every time we're in a meeting is important to be concentrated. So as part of being captain and a leader, for sure, it's about trying to make sure the players feel that. And try and enjoy it as well. The tournament will be here before we know it. The seasons go so quick. So making sure they're enjoying being here, enjoying training, enjoying the games, and just feeling free, because that's when I feel like the players are at their best.
Thanks, Alex. Next, we'll take one from Matt Reed.
Hi both. To both of you, really. Firstly, to Gareth, if possible, we appreciate that you are extremely proud to be England manager. It's obviously completely understandable. I'd love the job myself. But you also have a very worldly view. You're somebody who is very open-minded and is very aware of global issues. I'm just wondering, in relation to this weekend, how patriotic would you say you are? And can you just break down kind of your grounding as somebody who is is particularly proud to be England manager?
Well, I'm not sure how you measure. I can only, I suppose, express what I've expressed in the past, that to feel patriotic about your country can be many different things, and it's different for everybody. So, my own personal journey isn't really that important, frankly, but I sit here proud to lead the privilege of being a leadership position that has influence on and off the football pitch, and it's always important I use that responsibly. But my primary job is to create a team that wins football matches, and of course, if we can bring happiness and enjoyment to millions and millions of people, then that's a huge part of what our role entails. We're less important than a lot of other people that do very important jobs in our country. But I think everybody has that pride, whatever their heritage, whatever their background, in being English. And this weekend will show that across the world in its best possible light, because we do pageantry and ceremony better than anybody else I know.
And for you, Harry?
Yeah, no, I agree. Just from my own experience of growing up, I've always someone who's loved my country. I've loved watching my country play football, and all sports really. I'm sitting there watching the cricket yesterday, and happy at one stage, sad at another stage. So, no, of course, I'm extremely, I've said it before, I'm extremely patriotic of my country. This weekend will be an amazing occasion for our country, and a great celebration of an incredible Queen that we've had. So, like I say, like the manager said, I think each circumstance is different, but what this weekend will show is that the country will come together like it does in major tournaments as well. With football, we feel like we've done that over the last couple of tournaments, which has been great. So whenever there's a celebration where everyone can be together and enjoy each other's company, then that's a real positive thing for not just us but the world as well.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll jump to take a couple of questions from our host tomorrow, starting with Peter Farkas from Open Air Radio.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. I would like to ask Harry, as a player, will it be an extra motivation to play here again where there was a conflict with the fans last time?
I think personally, and I know as a team, we was really pleased with how we performed last time, and we felt like we had a great victory away from home after that, was straight after a Euros as well. So a really good mindset that we showed. So I think from our point of view, it's about the football on the pitch. It's about playing a very good team. Obviously, they come to Wembley and picked up a good result against us when we weren't quite on our game. So we know it's going to be a tough game. So we're concentrated on that. We've prepared for a game against a good team. But look, we feel like we can go out there and put in a good performance and get this tournament off to a good start, this group stage off to a good start. So that's our main focus. And once we get on that pitch tomorrow, that's all we'll be thinking about.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Next we go to Laszlo Borsos from Nemzeti Sport.
Yeah, thank you, and for the well pronunciation as well. Yeah, I dedicate my question to Gareth. That I think in the past you led England against two different kind of Hungarian teams. One that played in Budapest in a more open way, and one that played in the Wembley in a more disciplined and organized way. Which Hungarian team do you expect tomorrow?
I think that the match in Budapest was very different to anything I've seen from Hungary for the last 2 or 3 years, really. So it was unusual performance. We know normally they're very difficult to score goals against. We played extremely well that night, and the game at Wembley was more the type of Hungarian side that I've watched a lot over the last 2 years, particularly against the bigger teams. They've been difficult to break down. So we know it's a difficult game. We have to be at our best, but we're looking forward to the match.
Okay, thank you. I've got time for one more, which will come from James Ollie at ESPN.
Hi to you both. Firstly, just one for Harry. There's always a lot of talk about the goal scoring record. Wayne Rooney was talking about it recently and said he thought it'd be better for you to break it if possible before the World Cup, so it doesn't become a distraction for you at the tournament. Is that how you see it?
No, look, I'd like to break it as soon as possible. I'd love to score as many goals as I can in the next 4 games before the World Cup, and see where we go from there. But I'm someone who I feel like don't let that stuff affect me when I'm on the pitch. I have a job to do. It's not about goal scoring records and thinking about that stuff when I'm on the pitch. It's about the team and getting 3 points and winning the game. So of course, would love to do it as soon as possible. But if it doesn't happen for some reason and it goes into the World Cup, then so be it. The World Cup's probably the best competition in the world, so I'll have a lot of focus on trying to achieve that and trying to go on and win that. So we'll have to wait and see.
Thank you. And just one for Gareth. Just on the fans, does the sheer size of the crowd, I know there are school children yet, but just the sheer volume of the crowd in a behind closed doors game, does that not water down the anti-racism message at all?
Well, I think we're all surprised, but we're inviting children into our stadium, so I wasn't really clear on the rules of any of it at the start of all of this. I don't know what the figure should be or shouldn't be. So other people have got to deal with that. We've got to make sure that we're consistent in our beliefs, the stand we take as a team, the fact that we're united on it being unacceptable. And it's for other people to administer sanctions. Once we're administering sanctions, it's gone too far anyway. So the key is education, and the young people in the stadium hopefully pick that message up tomorrow.
Well, it's obviously down to UEFA and FIFA to organise those sanctions and implement them. But in your opinion, do you think they should be tighter?
It's difficult to know what that line should be, because I know we could talk about fines, and what would seem a small fine in our country would be a huge punishment for others. We've got a game behind closed doors which costs us millions of pounds of revenue, which could go into grassroots football. So the reality is that with all these things, the people that are being punished are the players and the supporters that behave themselves, and not the people that cause the problem. So there's, of course, very difficult to find a way of not doing that. But it is complicated when you get into the detail of sanctions, I think.
Okay, thanks, James, and thanks all. That concludes the main Sectionist Media Conference.